test from my computer for West Wednesdays. West Wednesdays is a weekly protest that I attend, normally held on 33rd and Greenmount, and it is a protest for all victims of police violence. And it has been organized for a very long time by Tawanda Jones, whose brother was brutally murdered by the Baltimore police. So we're doing that as a test tonight. This is getting broadcast on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and a bunch of other resources. And so I'm going to turn it over to Tawanda and let her say a few words. We're not going to be long on here, but we're just going to test this out. Mic check.
Mic check. Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank you, Ben, first of all, for doing all of this. This is amazing. But nevertheless, just to talk to everyone about West Wednesday. And normally, West Wednesday is, like Ben said, an outdoor protest that we've been doing now. This week coming up will be 349 weeks. And this week we just had we had to go, like, we went inside 2 weeks ago because of the COVID-19, and we want everybody to stay safe and not spread it. And that's where we're at. I want to make sure everybody's safe because we know that COVID-19 is definitely real, and my heart goes out to everybody that's going through it. It's just traumatizing right now. But nevertheless, I always tell y'all we're never going to stop West Wednesday, no matter what the circumstance or situation. We may adjust it, but we're not going to stop. And this week, we're going to have two special guests. Last week, we had two special guests, and that was the brother of Stephon Clark. He joined us all the way from Sacramento. And then we also had Willie McCoy's brother, I mean cousin, and he joined us. So, yeah, so we're in this week we have two special guests, and that will be Michael Brown's father as well as Sandra Bland's sister. So I'm just, I wouldn't wish nobody into this family, but I'm happy that we're connecting and we're taking West Wednesday onto like a broader perspective on a national level now and connecting because at the end of the day, these are all situations that are systemically happening, it's happening all over the world, and it needs to stop. And I just want to thank everyone.
Amen. Amen. Mic check.
Mike check.
All right. I think next up, the Hollerbox. I'll let them introduce themselves. Have something to say about schooling and a bunch of other stuff.
Reporting from our couch. um, we are both employees of public school systems. I work in the Baltimore City system, and
I work in the county.
And we're just kind of getting ready, gearing up to start up again. As a lot of people know, we've been on break, kind of closed for business, and everyone's in a big learning curve to try to provide virtual learning. But as per usual with any of this kind of change, and in these situations where we're trying to access students and families, there's going to be those folks who are marginalized and disadvantaged, that are hard to reach and may not have the resources to be engaged in the systems we're trying to create. And so the big fear we have is that it'll widen the gap that we already know exists in terms of schooling and those who are advantaged and have resources. And so fortunately, the city is trying to create systems where we can figure out ways to contact and pull in as many of those students as possible. So we're using a lot of energy to try to make that happen. But, we're fighting against the deficits that already exist, which I think is an outgrowth of that we're seeing from the coronavirus is already exposing those societal deficits more than it ever has before, which hopefully hopefully it can be a good thing because we get more people to see what ills we have and how they need to be corrected. But it also feels unsafe and risky to have those things exposed to us. But we're hoping, planning, and hoping that things will work out okay. But well, we're taking I'm a school administrator, so we're kind of trying to get people to take a very slow and um, positive approach at first until we really can see what the system is going to do.
I think the other thing that's happening is it's forcing a lot of people to really look at how and understand on a real human way how important relationships are and how important people are, and that rather than just looking at all the academic stuff and things like that, we need to look at how do we connect with each other, how can we connect with each other. I think that's another way that West Wednesday can grow too, in that we've all been face to face for so long, which is important, and we will all be real happy to get back to that. But at the same time, we need to build relationships as best we can in whatever ways we can. And I think that all of this for schools and for students and for families, we're all having to really take a look at that.
Excellent. Excellent. Mic check. And just before we continue on to Bill here, I just want to also acknowledge that we got a whole bunch of people online watching. We've got Leonard on Twitch. We've got Curtis and Eddie and Nubian Gold and Jenny on Periscope and a bunch of other people on Facebook. So thank you for joining us. This is just a test. Our normal broadcast is going to be on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, mic check. Go ahead, Bill.
So I'll be relatively brief because this is not our real West Wednesday. As people watching may know, West Wednesday is devoted primarily to the fight against police brutality. Police brutality is one aspect of racism, and unfortunately there are many other aspects. So I just want to talk for a minute about racism connected with who's being hurt and dying most in disproportionate numbers from the coronavirus. So there was an article today that explained 3 examples that are very compelling. One comes from Mecklenburg County in North Carolina. And some states are not keeping data on the racial makeup of people who get infected and who die. But they were in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. That's where Charlotte is. And in that county, black residents are 1/3 of the population, but are 44% of the cases of confirmed COVID-19. In Illinois, 39% of the cases of infection are white residents, 28% of COVID-19 patients are black, but the state's population is only 14.6% black. In other words, African Americans in the state of Illinois are being infected with COVID-19 at twice the rate of their proportion in the population. Now we go to Michigan, we see the worst of all. In Michigan, the black population is about 14%, but 30% of the patients, let's see if I get this right. Sorry, a third of the cases of people who have COVID-19 are African American, and 40% of the deaths are African American. So from a 14% of the population to 40% of the deaths, black people are dying at almost 3 times the rate of other people in that state. And this has to do with a long history of health disparities, and we know underlying conditions are one of the causes of being a severe case with COVID-19. So those long-standing health disparities and inequalities lead people to get the most severe instances of it. And then people who have to work and can't afford to stay home, who are paid hourly and don't get anything if they leave the job, are disproportionately black. So a variety of factors are causing this, but there seems to be a very significant and serious disparity in who's being sickened and who's dying from the coronavirus.
Thank you so much, Bill. Mic check, mic check. Thank you all for joining tonight and for sharing that valuable information. I really appreciate that, and thank you all for joining in the test. All of you guys online who are watching this and viewing it. And I'm gonna disconnect the stream now. The three of you can stay on. We can keep talking and talk about how it went. And yeah, thank you very much.